All right, good. Well, welcome all. I'm so happy to see you again. As always, I'm Monica Weekly, the host of the Espresso Agent Mastery sessions here. And I'm so glad you guys are, yeah, I'm so glad you guys have decided to invest a little time in yourselves. Good for you. I don't think enough agents do that. So I applaud you all for taking a little time out of your very busy schedule and doing a little work up here and a little work on your personal growth. So a couple housekeeping items, then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hank here shortly. First thing, everyone always asks, will I be able to watch this back? And yes, of course you will. Espresso Agent has a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel's kind of amazing. All of these mastery sessions are there. So you'll be able to go, I don't know if it's right away, but in a day or two, you'll be able to go and look this session up on Espresso Agent YouTube channel and watch it back. So if there's any particular part you want to rewatch. Now I recommend if Dr. Hank shows us something, you want to just take a quick snapshot with your phone, that's a good idea too, but you will have access.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll notice we've got everybody muted. That is not because we don't want to hear from you. We do want to hear from you.
We do.
But, right, we do. But it is for your listening pleasure that we mute everybody, because I'm here to tell you it's a nightmare if we don't, right? There's always something going on. So please, please, please do me a favor, do Dr. Hank a favor, do yourselves a favor, use the chat bar, ask questions, make comments, interact. You know, it's your way of raising your hand, and we love it. We love it, okay? Let's see, anything else? I think that's it. Now, Dr. Hank, we are so excited to have you here talking about how important our mind is, really. And what I saw in your bio that interested me is that you worked for Procter & Gamble, and you know, I'm in Cincinnati, so I'm P&G, like, diehard, right?
Awesome, yeah, you know, P&G.
So, how did you make it out of one of the, like, corporate America, one of the best places you can be, to doing what you do now? I understand you had an accident that sort of changed things for you, right?
Yeah. So it's great. First of all, Monica, I want to thank you for being, you know, Espresso Agents is just so well known and has such valuable information. And then you add your sparkling personality and all your knowledge to it. So I want to thank you for having me on the show, and thank for everybody for watching in. And
sure, thanks.
To have this, you know, about so yeah, where it kind of started is, so I was graduated and had my PhD in mental science. That's where the Dr. Hank stuff comes in. And so I'm a head doctor, and I've checked you all out, and you're all doing just great.
Good to know.
And so I was with Procter & Gamble for 15 years. I actually ended up managing the Southeast United States for them. And I was with them for 15 years, but I developed, I had all kinds of training and development besides my education, especially with Procter & Gamble, and they had just some of the best. And so I created a process that could actually guarantee measurable results for businesses. And so I did very well in the Southeast United States. We increased our revenues by 21%, decreased our costs by 34%. Everybody else was flat. And so Procter said, hey, man, we want you internationally to help us. And I said, sorry, I'm out of here. And I became a business consultant. And my first client was Procter & Gamble.
Very good idea. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, but about 20 some years ago, and that's, you know, kind of when I have this consulting business, I got involved in a mortgage company and ended up owning a mortgage company. And about 10 years ago, I really just love real estate. And one of the reasons why I love it, it's the American dream. And I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I'm very patriotic, and just love the good old USA. And I travel, I'm fortunate to travel the world, and I always just love touching down on US soil again. It's just so comforting. And so I got into real estate, and and for 10 years, in fact, I built a real estate, a brokerage of 420 agents I had in Dallas. And I was praying for them on, most of us agents just didn't have any type of retirement, didn't have any 5-year financial plan. And so I was praying for an answer, for a solution, and I got one, just a horrific car accident. In fact, here I can probably show you a picture of that. just so you can kind of see that. Can you see that there?
Oh my gosh, it's a miracle that you survived.
Well, it actually totaled my car and totaled my body. And so here's another a picture. And when I was in a coma, and they and I told my wife, when I woke up obviously out of my coma, and I told my wife, listen, what I want you to do is go to my car, because I know in my car door, I had some lottery tickets, and I bet those winning lottery tickets are in there. So she goes, oh, Hank, whatever. But she goes to the junkyard, takes pictures of the car, and she comes back and she says, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have a car door. Because of the jaws of life needed to extract it, extract me out. And actually, here's another fun picture too. There the Hankers is.
Wow. So your multi-million-dollar earnings just evaporated with the car door.
Right, exactly. Yeah, all my winning lottery tickets. So if you do want to become a millionaire, go to that junkyard, find that door.
That's right. That's perfect.
Be there. And but one of the reasons I could figure out what it was is it helped me to slow down and to really stop and to I was on my own track and my own path and not on God's path. And so it helped me to slow down. And because of that, I found just some miracles to include. For more detail on that, you can go to that dochankwebinar.com. It's just a great one that talks about how you can build your business and build your wealth, and you don't pay me anything for it, that it's my gift to you. And so it's just a really incredible thing. And so that's one of my gifts today. But today, really, what we wanted to do, Monica, is talk about how thoughts become things.
Yes.
And have you heard that expression before, that thoughts become things?
Yeah, for sure, in some form or another. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and by things, it could be, other thoughts or people, circumstances, events, money, more business, whatever. And so this is really critical for all of us, because I have my own podcast, Agent Wealth Network, every week, and I interview the top agents. I just interviewed Pat Hyben. He's a $1 billion agent. Okay. And so, so I get this information from the top agents, top brokers. And one of the things that I found in common with all of them is they said it first starts. So if you want to be successful, with your own mindset. Mm-hmm. And so for us to understand that, you may say, well, what does this have to do with real estate? It has everything to do with real estate and your life. And so I'm going to share with you the 3 steps so science within the last 5 years, so this isn't just Dr. Hank and this little la-la land making this stuff up, even though I do make up a lot of stuff. Sure. We all make it up. But
you're a doctor, so when you make stuff up, it has credibility.
Right, exactly. But we all make stuff up, whether it's the drama in our life or the
stories.
Or whatever. But neuroscientists, microbiologists, quantum physicists, they've all agreed in the last 5 years that this is how to what they call have matter, or your experience, or to have your dreams come true. They don't use exactly those words, but here's the 3 steps, and you might want to write this down, that the first step in all of creation for you to have anything that you want to be, do, and have, the first step is, according to the scientists, is your thought. So it is your all-powerful thought. And I want to talk a little about this thought, because what are you thinking about? See, if we're thinking about the bad deal that just happened, what happens is we start attracting more bad deals. So we're so used to looking at what is and what's happening in our life that we continue to think about that, and then we continue to get it over and over and over again. So it's kind of like, oh gosh, I got to start this day again, because and the reason why it almost seems like, oh no, I got to go into the same old boss, or I got to struggle to try to get a deal. For us real estate agents, we have this freedom, which one of our soul's desires is to have more freedom. So we have this freedom. We're not, we don't have a boss per se, but there may be challenges. And how do I get more referrals, and how do I get more leads and quality leads, and how do I close those, and all those answers? Again, I can help agents with whatever, and brokers with that. But when you're looking at, hey, what am I thinking of? And so what you want to do is go beyond what's just happening and think about what will be. And so to start thinking, hey, what will be? What is going to be the future? I want my future to where I love having more business. Don't get real specific on, gee, I'm going to do 25 million this year and you only did $1 million. That quantum leap probably won't happen. But if you could say, hey, I like the fact that I see my future as increasing my business and getting more leads, getting referrals, and discovering new lead systems. Like I have the #1 exclusive lead program in the United States that I can give you literally for free. And so this is where you discover Espresso agents. This is where we can find this type of information. Mm-hmm. And so it's about, if you start asking for it, so ask and you shall receive, right? And so it's this thought about what you have and what you're thinking about. So you want to think about what will be, what you want, what you like, what you enjoy, what you love. And as you do, you'll get more and more of that in your life. So that's step one. Any questions or any text questions?
No, not yet. Well, I think Stephanie raised her hand, but I'm wondering if she just, because that was there early. Stephanie, certainly write in your question if you have one. So go on, step two.
Right. Yeah, so the first step is our thought. And then according to the scientists, the second step then is that our thought turns into energy. So what the scientists call energy, so what we call is our emotions. And that's why our emotions are so important. And most of us have been told to restrain our emotions. And the fact is that when we're happy, I love going to chick flicks, for example. I just went and saw, and crying at them and everything. I just went and saw Crazy Rich Asians. It is just hilarious. And I was laughing, crying. I was sad, crying. It just was up, down, all around. Just a fantastic movie, and we really enjoyed it. And but to be able to start expressing your emotions, and that also to take your thoughts and realize that automatically when you're thinking a thought, you're creating this energy, okay, that the scientists call, and then the scientists state that this energy then creates matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, which means it creates your dreams. So it's your all-powerful thoughts and then your powerful feelings. So you don't necessarily need to monitor your thoughts. Just monitor your feelings. As long as you're feeling good, you're on your path. You're thinking like God is thinking about this subject. So we have a communication system every moment of every day. So it kind of happened this way, not exactly, but before we came here, we said to God, so now tell me, how are we going to communicate when we're down here? Is it going to be English, Spanish, or what? And God said, oh, no, we're not doing any of that. Those are very inadequate ways of doing it, because I could be like, if I were saying the same words and I was doing it very bummed out wise, that it would give a whole different meaning to that, okay? Mm-hmm. And so we're sitting there, and these emotions and so God says that what I'm going to do is I'm going to guide you every moment of every day with your feelings. And so when you're feeling bad, it means you're not thinking about this, you're not looking at this the way that I'm looking at this. That when you're feeling good, you are thinking about the way I'm thinking about them, the prosperous way, the good way. So, a really easy example is if you're thinking about your ex, for those of you that have an ex, okay, and you're thinking, oh, that SOB, or, whatever you're thinking, that the fact is that God isn't thinking that way. And that's why you're feeling bad, because you're feeling bad. It's not really about that person. It's about that because you're thinking, because God says, hey, we're all made in the image and likeness of God. And so to be able to do that. So this beautiful communication system that we can be guided every moment of every day simply by our feelings. And so to be led by our feelings and to realize how important those are. Now, at this point, that's what the scientists say, but the scientists took out, and you can use whatever word you want to use, universe or God or your higher self, your soul, whatever that is. But the fact is that even though we can't see that, we all can feel that. And so there's something there, and that, like for those that question this law of attraction, is it real? Well, I'll give you an example on how it's real. Have you ever said to yourself, man, this day is so bad, just can't get any worse than this? And then it does.
Watch it. Yeah. Be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah. And that's the law of attraction. So there is no judgment. And so if you're going to say, hey, I want to, that in my saying, oh, I don't, it can't get worse than this, it's going to get worse than this. And so if it's bad, it's going to get even worse. Or if it's good, it's going to get even better. So it's your choice with your thought. Do I want a better life or do I want a worse life? And literally you can control that just one step at a time by your thoughts and feeling good. Now, at this point, I'd like to offer everybody a free way. I have a process that the investment is $5,000, and I'm going to give you a piece of that. And that alone will help change your life and improve your life. And it's called the Joy Shop. And so for any of you that want that Joy Shop, that you can actually go ahead and email me if you want to. It's drhank@drhank.biz, B-I-Z. So it's drhank@drhank.biz. drhank@drhank.biz. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the Joy Shop. And what you do is in the morning, I'm going to attach a document that I want you to print. It's called the Joy Shop. And you're going to print that out. And then every morning, you're going to read that Joy Shop. What's in that Joy Shop are good feeling thoughts that's going to raise your vibration and help you to think more as your higher self thinks. And you'll start attracting better and better thoughts. And then to write down 3 things. The first thing to write down is, what do I want? We have to get clarity. In fact, I had another $1 billion agent who was on, it hasn't been broadcast yet, but it was on Tuesday. And he was saying about the clarity on how we need to understand what we want. And most people don't really understand what they want. So for example, on a listing that, what neighborhood do you want listings in? What type of customer do you want? What type of client? I want a harmonious client. I want a client that I have fun with, that I laugh together with, that I enjoy myself with. But see, we're not asking for those things. That we're typically thinking, oh man, I don't have I don't have a listing yet, or oh, I can't stand that client of mine, and then we Facebooked it and we texted, and what it does, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so to be able to write down, and you'll start just within a couple of days, and it can really be in a couple of moments, that your life's going to start getting better as you get clarity. The first thing is to write down what you want. The second thing is, remember, I'm a mental scientist, so I'm going to start changing the way your thought process is. And the second step is to write down what you appreciate within the last 24 hours. Now think about that, when we get home usually at night and we're talking to our spouse or whoever, kids, whatever, and they say, how was your day? And normally it's about, oh, this didn't go well or that didn't go well. You know, there's a lot of that in there. And so just to discipline yourself, to start looking at, just forget about what didn't go well, because the more you think about it, and here's a statement that everybody can, if you'll write this down, whatever I focus my attention on grows.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I focus my attention on those things I don't like, I don't want, that didn't make me feel good today, that, you know, the deal went south, you know, whatever it is, that I'll just get more of it. So instead, I'm going to focus my attention on what I want. And I'm going to give you an example of that, that I was actually declared paralyzed from my waist down after my car accident. And so I could not walk. And so I'm a Vietnam veteran, and the VA proclaimed me permanently homebound and permanently disabled. And so I just didn't want to believe what those doctors were saying. And instead, I wanted to believe what I knew, that all things were possible. And so I just started visualizing and started praying for, hey, I have good health and I see myself walking. And so I just focused on that. I didn't focus on my numb legs, my legs that could not move. And one day, breath after breath, minute after minute, hour after hour, day after day, one day I felt a little energy in my right toe. And so a little feeling in my right toe. And I just said, oh my God, I love that so much. I'm going to just focus on that energy. And I just focused on that energy, and it started to grow. And it went from one toe to the next, up my foot, up my leg, across my waist, down my left. And so voila, you know, Hankers is walking now.
Wow.
Where you know, I was unable, so they call me sometimes the walking miracle on that. But see, we're all walking miracles. Every one of you are a walking miracle, that you have the power to overcome, whether it's a disability, whether it's a physical ailment. You have the power to create the type of real estate business that you want, and that all of us should be doing at least $100,000 commission. And if not, I'll show you a couple of quick ways in order to be able to do that. And also, all of us deserve that. You each deserve abundance. You each deserve to have this 6-figure, 7-figure income, and just expand your imagination. All you have to do is ask. So going back to the joy shop, the first thing is what I want. And then you start talking about, the second one is write down what you appreciate. What do you appreciate in the last 24 hours? So think about what happened. Like, you know, if you can't think of anything, get real simplistic and just say, I woke up this morning. My heart is working. My heart's beating. I didn't even have to tell it to wake up and beat. You know,
Right.
it was beating. That, you know, and we have so many systems within, you know, our digestive system, our circulatory system, that we have all these, I mean, just so many amazing things. Our bodies are just amazing. And abnormally, we're looking at whatever's fine. If your right knee is hurting you, think about your left knee.
Yes.
Because that left knee, that'll move that energy to where your right knee will start feeling better. So that's the second thing. And then the third one is to pre-pave your day. So it's PRE-PAVE. So most people would say, like, plan your day, whatever. I like this pre-pave because I want you to start pre-paving your golden road. Okay, it's like this corridor you're walking down, this corridor of joy that you're walking down, and the doors of abundance are just swinging wide open for you, and that, you know, you just feel so good, and so you can pre-pave it the way that you want it. And so what does that mean? That means, like, wow, I'm going to attract, and be general, don't get specific. That the Father does the work. So those specifics, that's up to the Father, if you will, you know, your higher self, whatever universe, God. That, and so you want to be able to embrace that, wow, I just love that I'm going to attract harmonious and uplifting people today. I'm going to get more business opportunities today. Not necessarily I'm going to get $1 million listing today, okay? But I can show you how to do that. Again, that all these are possible for you, but just start out general. And that, you know, and I want to laugh more today. I want to smile more today. I want to feel better today. I want to just rendezvous with my source today and be at one with my source. That, and so whatever word you want to, for source or God or Christ or whatever that is, whatever your beliefs are, that just start relating to that. And as you do, you're going to just start being more uplifted and feeling better and better. So that is the Joy Shop. Again, I can send you that, drhank@drhank.biz, and then those 3 steps, and I'll outline all that in the email coming back to you. But at this point, I can share some other information because the scientists left out God, and I put it back in. It's actually 5 steps to realizing our dream. But at this point, do you, Monica, or does any of our audience, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question because I've studied a lot about this, and certainly originally became aware of this through The Secret when that was kind of coming out, how we manifest, whatever. So, but one of the most important things I think people forget about is the action piece in that we have to start, at least begin the motion towards what we want. We can't just magically sit on our couch and say, this is what I want and picture. Do you agree with that? And where does that come into play with you?
Well, so what I'll say is kind of.
Okay, good.
And so first of all, if you don't sit down and if you aren't quiet and if you don't take deep breaths, and this idea about breath, that actually in the Bible, the word spirit meant breath. And so the fastest way for you to connect to your source, the universe, God, whatever, is through your breath. And typically it's 5 seconds in and then 5 seconds out. And go ahead, all of us, let's just breathe in. And as you do that, and just say to yourself, relax, that what you're going to do is you're going to get lined up and you're going to start getting thoughts, godly thoughts, if you will. And so you do need that time, and typically you need at least a minute to do this, ideally about 15 minutes every day to do this, because when you're connected with your source, then all things are possible, and you can go and do it and just have a glorious day. And literally, my days are magical. I have magical days every day, and it's just like so exciting. And it's one thing after the next. My angels are in front of me, paving my way, and I'm just having a great time. And I mean, what people call Dr. Hank's La La Land, okay? And so, but virtually every teacher that I've heard, or 98% of the teachers that I've heard, is they say, you got to do action, action, action. And that's why most of us are burnt out, because what we've been doing is we've been swimming upstream, thinking all of our goodies, all the stuff we want are upstream, when really they're downstream, and it's the path of least resistance. So if you will stop paddling up, and all of us have been there, we're just exhausted. And instead of going and working hard, making 20 calls a day or whatever, the coaches have told you, or people to work hard, you hear it all the time, like on sports to say work hard. What people don't understand is 99% of everything you create all starts from thought, and is the part, and it's the 1%. And here's where the little bit different terminology is, instead of just doing, because if I do, I get do.
I like that.
And so I don't want to do, okay? That what I want to do, though, is I want to have inspired action.
Okay.
And so when I get a thought like, wow, I just thought about Joe, and Joe, I bet it is his time that he was saying he wanted to buy a house, and I'm going to call him. That's an inspired action. And so you don't have to worry about you doing it. You'll be fired up. You'll be in tune with source that, this is what I want to do, versus, okay, I got to go, do whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so like, and an example of that is, we did some professional basketball players, and for a week, we asked one group to just shoot 3-pointers. So they shot 3-pointers. We knew what their average was, then, whether or not it increased, because they practiced, they did this physical stuff. The other group didn't touch a basketball for a week. And all they did was visualize about when we had them, in session, the same amount of time in session on the court, and we had them just visualize taking that ball, shooting that ball. And when they went out and they both did 3-pointers, that statistically improvement, a significant statistical improvement was with the ones that never touched the ball.
Wow.
So it's not about doing that. I had a billionaire, and he asked me not to use his name, but he didn't care about the money because he already had the money. Okay, normally I help people with their business and grow their wealth. But I could do other things and have healed other people when they have some serious illnesses, whatever. But this guy, all he wanted to do was he wanted to be a better golfer.
Nice.
And so he's sitting there, and I said, well, tell me, what are you thinking about when you go up on the ball? And he goes, well, I'm thinking about, how my feet are spread, and that I got my hand movement right, and that, I'm getting my elbow out, and I keep my left arm straight, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, you've been around these instructors too much. And he goes, yeah, I paid thousands of dollars and hours, instructors. And I said, well, that's your problem. And he goes, what are you talking about? Your problem. And I said, you got all that, you know all that. What you need to do is, and so I did it on a 3-par, and a 3-par means from the green to the hole that you can see it, you can see it, and you could potentially even, with one shot get it in, called a hole in one, right? And most people don't do that. But what I told them is, hey, I want you, when you stand up there, I want you to visualize that ball going up on the green and how it bounces and how it just goes right into the hole. And he goes, man, I haven't thought about that. See, and this is a clarity about what do I want. He never really thought about getting a hole in one.
Right.
And instead he was thinking about this other stuff that everybody told him he had to do and, everything. When really all he had to do was the power, and it doesn't matter what you are, every business person, every athlete, that they visualize, they see it before it happens, and that's how they make it happen. Because and and so he calls me 5 weeks later, and he goes, you wouldn't believe what happened, Dr. Hank. And I said, where are you? He said, on a golf course. And I said, oh yeah, you on a par 3? Yeah. I said, okay, what did you do? Hole in one.
No way. No way. He owes you big time.
Yeah, he would have paid way more. It was priceless, for him, that moment, and to have that. But that's just how powerful as human beings.
Well, it's such an interesting analogy because I am a golfer, actually. And you're right. When you stand up there, what's going through your mind is, don't do this, don't do this, don't shank it, don't this, don't that. Like, keep your eye out, whatever. And in real estate, it makes me think, how do we go through deals? Are we saying, oh, God, please don't let this fall apart. Please don't flake on me, buyer. Please, we're predicting all the things that can stop us from getting to where we want to go with this client.
You just nailed it on the head. That what we're doing, we're shooting ourselves in the foot all the time, and we're not even aware of it because we've been brought up to be guarded. And that I'm going to watch out for all the bad stuff that can happen. And what happens is I start attracting all the bad stuff that I don't want. And it's really not bad or good. It's wanted and unwanted. And here I'm attracting the unwanted because I've been brought up that way. And an example of, and maybe people say, well, I don't remember being brought up that way. And well, think about this. Were you ever told not to talk to a stranger? Heaven forbid they give you candy.
Right. So, and then we go Halloween.
Right. Then you have a Halloween. You say, how does this, like really? And that's why people are like, some of this stuff doesn't make sense. What I was told to do as a child, that I don't do it. In fact, America's number one fear, besides over and above death, is public speaking. And public speaking, and the reason why is in our core, because we've been told, hey, don't talk to strangers. Well, it's a whole bunch of strangers I'm talking to if I'm public speaking. And then the real fear behind that's kind of the thought and everything, but it's because we think, well, I can't control them. And so I'm going to try to line up with who they are. Like many people say to me, oh, quit using the word God, or quit being so, high and, fluffy and Dr. Hanks, blah, blah. I don't care what you are. This is who I am, and I'm authentic. This is who I am, and I want you to be who you are. Because, and in fact, I was just on another billion-dollar agent, the one on Tuesday, where he said his success came from his being authentic. And this man is gay, and he would tell everybody, like I called him the king of New York, and he said, no, I'm the queen of New York.
That's awesome.
And we did this on a national podcast with 120,000 agents. Let's say, it's just amazing and fun. And but to be authentic, to be who you are, and so so this is who I am, and that that I can't think for you, I can't feel for you. I can only think and feel for myself. And I think another really important point here is another belief that we have. See, it's these beliefs that got all goofed up when we were a kid, and it was for our parents and teachers and whoever to feel good. Okay, so because we all do everything to feel good. But one of the things that people think is that they don't have the power to change other people. Oh, I can't change other people. And that is not correct. But all of us have been doing it. And probably you're all thinking right now, hey, no, that is correct, that you can't change other people. Well, I'm going to give you an example on this. And so my wife, Sharon, for the first time, we're going to meet her parents. And as we're driving there, Sharon tells me, listen, my dad's name is Sledge. And right away, oh boy, like Sledgehammer or something.
Right.
And then she goes, listen, this guy, my dad's not going to talk to you. He's not going to call you by your first name. He's not going to be nice to you. He's not going to look at you. It's going to be a miserable time, but we got to go in there, introduce you, and we'll be out of there. So I realized that Sharon had these beliefs about her dad because of previous experiences with their boyfriends or husbands or whatever it is. And so she had this belief. But see, we can change anybody or any circumstance if we allow ourselves to think differently about them. It's kind of like the relative at the Thanksgiving who you hate, Well, because you talk about that relative, oh, I don't like them, I'm not starting to see them, they're going to be awful. Well, why don't you just try to lighten up a little and say, hey, I'm going to give this person a break. And this person's made the image like this guy too. When you do, you're going to start seeing that person change. But back to my father-in-law's story. So when Sharon says, and I know I can't change her beliefs at this point, she's just dug in deep, and she's going to fight for her lack and limitation and how her dad is. That's what we do. We fight for a lack of limitation many times. And so when she said, he's not going to talk to you, I go, he's going to talk to me, man. We're going to have a great time. And then she says, he's not going to call me by he's going to call me by Hank. We're going to just have a great time. And so I just said the opposite. And so I was so of what Sharon said, and I was so fired up that I got in and I went, hey, Sledge, how are you? And he initially goes, oh, okay. And pretty soon I become irresistible. Okay. We all can become irresistible with anybody, but you have to think about, how do I want this to be? And a great step to say always during the day is ask yourself, or ask your higher self, what's the best outcome that I want with this? So before you're walking into a listing appointment, before you're going to call a referral, whatever, what's the greatest outcome that I want from this? And when you start saying that, you're going to get more and more clarity. And that one point right there, folks, is going to take you to a whole new world. You're going to be happier. You're going to enjoy your life more, and you're going to get more of what you want. Back to the Sledge story. Well, one thing leads to the next, and pretty soon Sledge is saying, hey, come on over here. And he's showing me his office and his home and where his guns are. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, I hope he doesn't shoot me.
Right.
I really wasn't thinking that. But, it's just great. So we leave and have a super time, and they're twice as long as we, Sharon had said we would be. And mainly because Sledge and I are getting along so good. And we get in the car, and Sharon goes, oh, my God, I'm really, really afraid about my dad. And I go, what? She said, I think he's really sick. And I go, really? Didn't seem so. Well, no. I mean, he treated you so nice. I've never seen him so
Something's not right.
yeah, she thinks he had some bad turkey or something.
You're right. That's cute.
Yeah, so we have the power to change people. So if you have a client, I've done this many times with agents where they say, I have the worst client, they don't listen to me, and so they're telling me everything they don't want. They don't listen to me, they don't they don't take my advice, they don't make decisions, they take forever, this usually with buyers this is. And so I said, well, thank you very much for telling me everything you don't want. And they kind of look at me and they said, don't you have any empathy? And I said, I have all the empathy in the world. I want you to start telling me, what do you want? And for the first time, they think, oh, yeah, what if they don't even know?
Right. Never thought about that.
Yeah, never thought about that because this person is, this, da, 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 da. And so I've had people on like a Thursday tell me this. And so I said, now let's get, what do you want? I want a motivated buyer. I want them to be kind to me, nice to me, listen to me, really enjoy me. And so as you start saying that and getting involved in that and just getting that energy of, wow, it's just going to be a great time. So next thing you know, out of the blue, and they won't ever sign a contract before, they wouldn't have signed a contract. And out of the blue, that the client calls and says, oh, I did see something on Saturday. I'd like you to go see me. Okay. They go to see the house and they take their counsel. They have a fun time. They're even laughing together for a second. They laugh together and they sign the contract. And that's the power we have to literally change other people. And it's not taking advantage or anything. It's what they want too. They want to be happy. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to have the American dream. And so this way, you're going to really be not just a salesperson anymore, but you're going to be an expert. And you're going to be a professional expert that rises above and overcomes, is really that value. And that's why we get paid the bucks we get paid, because we can be paid like football players, if you will. Okay. We have that potential, but we just have kind of gotten sucked into the way life is and kind of accepted it. And now today is the day for each of us to just awaken and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start thinking about what I want, start asking myself what I want. I'll be given ideas about what I want, and I'm going to start leading a more abundant, happier life.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Do we have any questions for Dr. Hank? I think, it's such a great message, and it seems like this little thing, but I think actually it carries like the biggest weight in our life, if in a positive way. Yes. This idea of energy, and that's really all we are.
Right.
It is spirit of energy, right?
Right, exactly that. Everything is energy. Literally, like my figure looks like it's just, a solid figure. Well, it's not. That, they're all moving around. There's more space, actually, the density, matter, in there. And so everything, the walls, everything, and everything comes from spirit. So it comes from the unseen to the seen. I mean, we literally, like Oprah says, that we're worthy because we birthed ourselves into this life. And we meant to be happy in this life. We meant this to be a joyride, to skip along the joyride. And we just got, a little lost along the way. And this is where we're now being found. And we're finding ourselves and finding on how we can really talk to our higher selves, get answers, get solutions, and have that better life that all of us want. We want our dreams to come true, and this is how to have our dreams.
You got it. Diane wants to know, in your experience, once we begin this journey, how long does it take to see the positive results?
Yeah, so it really can. It's a great question because we want to be in this state of expecting. And so the more that, so I call it ABE, A-B-E, and it's for to allow it, to believe it, and to expect it. So if you will, literally just, right, really even when we get off here, if you would just sit down and breathe in deeply, just take it easy, and for about 10 minutes, and just think about like things like what you want and things you appreciate, and kind of pre-pave maybe something later on in the day, today or tomorrow or this weekend, whatever, and that you'll be, as long as you just allow it and start looking for it. Because I'm telling you that when you ask, you shall receive. But there's stuff in between, and that takes me to actually the 5 steps of creation or our dreams to come true. So the first step is thought, the same as the scientists. The second one is that thought creates energy. Now, the scientists say that, but I move the energy to another place here. And so in step 2, I have this energy I created from my thoughts, this energy. So let's say that I just love that November and December, like most agents say, oh, it's a slow months now. And, you know, in November, December, there's not much business, January, February, whatever. That I have agents that have their biggest months that, because most everybody is saying they're not big months and they're not doing anything, but they're expecting more, okay? And so for us to be in that expected mode, but here it is. That, so let's say that in the next 2 months, before Christmas, that's a great one. Before Christmas, let's really get a lot of business. And so let's think about a lot of business. And so you're thinking that, now you're creating energy. And that's step 2. So you really don't have to do anything on that step. Step 1 is thinking, you do. Step 2, you're going to create the energy, and it sends a signal out to the universe, God, your source, higher self, whatever. And that signal, in other words, your prayer, because that's what thought is prayer. We're praying every moment of every awakened day that we have in a moment. And so that prayer that is received and then instantly answered as well. So that's why all of our prayers are answered. But most of you are sitting there saying, I could give a hoot if that is in some energy form up in Dr. Hank's La La Land.
Right.
That I want it in my experience. So
right.
Step 3 is God receives and answers. And now step 4 is really where it gets clogged up. You got to get step 1 on the mindset right. But step 4 is that I need to do this A, B, E. I need to allow it. I need to believe it. I need to expect it. It was really fun yesterday in the morning. I was just all involved with all that is, just feeling my oneness. And then the thought came up to me, and I said, I'd like some more money to just flow right into my checking account today. And in expected and unexpected ways. And I love that, unexpected ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so last night, I didn't think about it for the rest of the day, wasn't focused on doing any of it, because remember, the Father does the work. We don't have to do the work. And so I just said, oh yeah, you know, I do want to check my checking account, because I want to make sure I have enough balance in there for my, you know, I put in savings, make a little out of there. And so do I need to transfer it? And I look, and there's 2 deposits in there, came out of the blue. And you know, it's just like, this is so fun, but you got to believe it. You know, see, if you don't believe it, you think, oh, yeah, that happened to you and whatever, and you're independently wealthy, so you have all kinds, blah, blah, blah. No, it is, I'm just like you. I have as much power or as little power as I deserve, as you know, deserve, as you will give yourself. Mm-hmm. And so we literally have that power. So step 4 is this ability to allow, believe, and expect. And so the question is, you know, how long does it take? Well, actually, it could be instantly, but usually we're slowing it up with our doubt, okay, and with our disbelief and not believing that it could be true, and saying things and being guarded, all those things. It clogs up that 4th step. And the 5th step is, so it's 5 steps, right? I think, I get energy, that goes to the universe, it receives, responds, and step 4 is where I just need to think, and then 4 is allow, believe, expect, and then step 5 is where everything's manifested. My dreams come true. Your experience, so in essence, it's your experience where you can create this, and there's plenty of everything. Like, one of the reasons why people don't have money is they're thinking, I need more money. And, you know, and you say to me, but I've been asking for more money. I need more money. Well, that emotion of I need more money is I don't have enough money. Mm-hmm. And so source is going to respond and give you more, not enough money. So it has to be, wow, I know this is abundant. So understand this, that when you ask that God makes more of it, Okay, it doesn't take from anybody, but most of us think that it's taken from somebody. Kind of like, when we were growing up, eat all the food on your plate. Most unhealthiest thing that they could have ever said. Eat all the food on your plate, and then think about the Japanese or Chinese or whoever's starving in the world. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing, because it's not like I can take that food back there. And so there's these things where we think if I get money, then somebody else isn't going to get money, or I'm taking from somebody else. And that's not true. When you ask, that source actually makes more of it. There were no billionaires 80 years ago. Now there's over 400 billionaires. Where'd the money come from? Did we import it from some other planet? No. We all made it up. And it's all made up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, this has been great. Any other questions for Dr. Hank? And do you have any parting thoughts for us? I need to go do some deep breathing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I've had people go through my whole process where I said, what's the best thing you got out of it? They said, it's really the breathing. And so there's just, these things really, there's been the words of the ages, wisdoms of the ages have been in this, and just embrace that. And it's not me, because I'm just channeling. It's just, whatever's coming out. I didn't have any of this pre-planned or anything other than I knew, what we had the topic. But I will leave everybody with this, that the most important thing that you can do, okay, and I have a lot of people, they're always trying to serve other people and take care of other people. And what happens with them is that they get burnt out on that, right? And they're helping other people to where they're not helping themselves. So the best thing that you can do is for you to thrive. And when you thrive, everyone else around you thrives. So you have to think about yourself first, because nobody else can think or feel for you. But the bottom line of that, and the last message and love that I send to all of you, is I want you to feel, to care most about how you feel. And when you feel good, it's your communication system with your source saying, you're on your path, brother. You are there. You're on your lighted path. You're in that corridor of joy, walking down it with the doors of abundance opening wide. And just allow it, believe this, expect it. And it'll be there instantly, or it could take days, or if you're stubborn enough and going to fight for your lack of limitation, you'll never see it.
I love it. I love it. And people do fight for their own limitations, don't they?
They sure do.
They will battle for them.
Give it up. Give it up, baby. Yeah. We're going to give it up, and we're going to start living life the way that we intended, and have fun, enjoy all this abundance and beauty that we have.
That's right. I got some great nuggets out of today. I didn't know that spirit meant breath or breathe in
yes.
the Bible. That's really cool. I also wrote down inspired action. I like that, because I do believe that there's a difference between just do, like you're saying, and inspired action. Another word for that, and you maybe have used this before, but I love the word promptings. When we get a prompting, that is something to pay attention to. And that's sort of that inspired action you're talking about.
I like that. Yeah. That's a great word. And another good word is a charge. And think about what you're getting a charge out of. And that most people have been used to getting charge out of the drama and watching the bad things on TV. The news, that's another thing. Just turn off the news, because they have they spent millions of dollars. They've searched the whole world for a bunch of bad stuff. And I can tell you this, in this world, there's everything bad, unwanted that you want, and everything wanted and what you do want. And so it's your choice on what you're thinking. And so why don't we think about what we want, what will be, and then expect it to come to us. Hey, Monica?
Absolutely. I'm looking for the news that decides to do the good news. It's called the good news, and it's current topics, it's current things happening,
right?
But they just leave out the bad news. I don't need to see it.
Yeah, you don't need to see it. And all it does is you get wrapped into it. And pretty soon you're literally creating similar things in your own life. And it's like, wow, I don't want
anxiety and just, fear-based stuff for sure.
Yeah, so create the things that your soul wants, and you do that through this deep breathing, and then that joy shop I can send you. And then my love to all of you. Monica, thank you so much for having me on.
You are so kind. Thank you for sharing your gifts. And guys, appreciate you joining us. Hope you took a few good nuggets. That's what we say here, Dr. Hank, is, you're not going to write down like 1,000 things and go do it, but there's always a couple nuggets that if you just internalize or adopt in some way, slowly and surely that improves your life over time. Incredible.
Enjoy those nuggets, everybody.
Nuggets. All right. See you guys. See you guys next time.
Bye-bye. All the love.